Hi, this is Amber. So now that we've shared out our topics and our groups, we're starting to get some content back. So I want to take a look at how you can manage that content and then kind of what to do with it. So we are looking at groups. So I'm going to bring you to an old group of mine so that you can see where someone has actually responded. So this is one of my groups or grids. And you see I have 18 responses here. So just to show you management of that, I do have a place where I can say, let's hide this topic. I don't want my students to see it anymore, and I don't want anyone adding anything new to it. I also have the ability to add copilots to the group, which we talked about last time, duplicate it if I only have a couple changes, notify everyone that's a member of this group of something. I also can export that data, which means it would save the video files and comments, or I can delete it. And that pencil, which appears here and here, is just where I can edit it. But I want to click on it because I want to show you that this is one that has responses. Before I go, however, I do want you to see there's a little airplane here, and that's indicative that I have a copilot added to that one. And we talked about copilots in the last video. So this is my group, and here are my topics. And again, I can see that I have 15 responses on this one and 3 responses. So I want to show you what you would do when you start getting responses in. So this is one that I'm going to go ahead and open. It's bringing your headline to life. These are the directions, and what you can start to see is as students are posting their responses, they're going to show up beneath. And I also want you to see that there's an area over here with these responses that I can manage some of these responses. So you see this first one here, it has a green pin next to it, and there's some that don't have pins. What you can do with a pin is pin some of your favorites or exemplars or some that you just want to feature for a little bit. You can pin those first, and those will always stay at the front of the list even as newer ones come in, because this works sort of like the social media thread in that the newest item goes to the top. Well, if I wanted these 3 to always be at the top, I'm going to push that little pin, and when it's green, it's indicative that it's always going to stay at the top. So that's one of the things as the pin, and you will see the little snapshot that the person left for their selfie. You'll also see the date in which the video was recorded, and you'll also see this section that says comments and feedback. So what I'm going to do is in a little bit I'm going to move to this area, but I'm going to keep going across here. Again, I can hide this one or make it active. I can share this particular post. Now, we talked in the last video about sharing your group and sharing your topic. Well, this is when you want to share a participant submission. So this is a great way to share it with a parent or share it with someone else who needs to see it, an administrator or a specialist teacher, someone you want to brag on. So you can click share, and that will actually just share a private link to that specific video. So you can share video URLs. Now, what a lot of people do is they like to keep their Flipgrid boards private, so not everyone in the world can see it, but then they'll share out individual videos with families and parents. So that's how you would do that. The actions button has several different options. You can hide that response, so maybe that's one you want to just hide from other students, but you don't want to delete it. We'll talk about mixtapes later. You can move it to another place. You can duplicate it if you need to. But here are some that are important. Download video and download selfie. A lot of times I've had people say, well, I want to use this Flipgrid video in something else I've created, like a Google slideshow, or I'm making a video mashup. This is a way you can actually download the video as an MP4 file and use it somewhere else. So that's a way that you can do that, and you can also download their selfie as well as delete their response. And again, instead of deleting, I would hide. That way, if it was inappropriate, I would still have it for backup, but no one else could see it but the copilots and me. So let's talk about these other things. So I'm going to go ahead and open Ashley so that you can see it, and I'm going to pause it so that we don't hear it. But this is the thing that I would do if I were showing these to my class. I would open it up, and you'll notice how the next one's right here. So as soon as I finish that one, I can keep clicking through, and I can actually watch all the videos in one place and just kind of go through them. Here's the place that the teachers and the co-pilots need to pay attention to. Right now there's no comments, so I could add a comment. I also can go to the feedback tab. This feedback allows me to give private video feedback. So if I wanted to give some feedback to Ashley, I can record this video feedback and it would go back to her, and only she and I could see that video, and of course your co-pilots. There's also, remember we turned on that rubric and we decided to use the ordinary rubric, so I can grade from 1 to 5 her ideas that were in the video and grade from 0 to 5 on her performance. I can also give her private comments. So these comments are different from the details box because this means everyone's going to see it. This front page is for everybody, but the feedback is what your teachers and co-pilots are going to use, and this is where I can give private comments to Ashley. I can also copy the link and send it to her, or I can send her the email with the feedback. That way she won't have to come to this place to see it. Also, there's an edit button, so if perhaps she spelled her name wrong, or there's something I want to correct for her, I can correct that there. So this is a way that you can actually provide some feedback. So when I go back using the little breadcrumbs at the top, then you're able to see which ones have had feedback. So if I go to this one and I go to their feedback, I've put some private comments in, and feedback doesn't just have to be the rubric, it's also the private comments. So when you use those breadcrumbs, you're able to see which ones have been provided with feedback and which ones haven't. So that's also helpful for you. So that's how you manage videos and share the videos once they're completed. While I'm here, I want to show you one more thing that's really important, not necessarily about the process of sharing, but about the process of students who may have some individual needs that would perhaps require them to have closed captioning. Any video that has audible speaking is going to, Flipgrid's going to attempt to close caption it. So you'll notice in this previous video, I don't have a closed caption button, and that's because they only used visual cues and no auditory cues. But in this one, we have speaking, and so I have a closed caption button, so you're able to see those closed captions. So that's something that's also super helpful when considering sharing. So now we've talked about lots of different ways of sharing and how to manage those videos when they come in. So I hope you are really starting to enjoy and get excited about the potential of Flipgrid.